Okay. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Thibaut. I'm a partner on the growth acceleration team for Atomico, and I lead all the go-to-market and sales. So what does it mean? It means that I help startup of the portfolio on all subjects related to go-to-market and sales. So I'm not coming from a VC background, and I will talk about this just after. So today we'll talk about, it's a big title, Lessons Learned, Building the Fastest Growing SaaS Software Company in the world, or in Europe at least. It's a big one. It's funny because every time I meet founders now, they are saying, okay, we'll beat you and we'll be faster than what you did in Snowflake. So the idea of today is not to talk about Atomico, but to talk about my story and to talk about what we did in Snowflake. So this is the idea of this presentation. So the first one is probably to share why did I choose Snowflake, and why I'm showing this to you, because when you are a founder of a startup and when you want to attract people, sometimes they have clear criteria of things and things that are probably important for them when they join a company. So why did I choose Snowflake at this period of time? It was back in 2016. I was working because, as I said, I don't have a VC background. I have 22 years of experience working only for software companies, mainly American companies, and being in charge of Europe. And back in 2016, I was a GM for Europe for a company based in Austin, Texas, named Bazaar Voice. And I was the GM for Europe. Everything was going well, but the company was not as fantastic as I was expecting. So I was open for the market. So what I did is, the first thing I did my homework, and I contacted some people that I knew. And John McMahon, who is probably one of the most successful CRO on this planet, that I had the chance to work with when I was in BMC Software. I think he's probably one of the only that was 5-time successful CRO, and he was at the board of different software companies. And I had a call with him, and I asked him, okay, so I'm probably ready for my move. Do you have any advice? And he introduced me to 3 different companies. So it was MongoDB, ThoughtSpot, and Snowflake. And Snowflake at this period of time was completely unknown in Europe. I was working for digital marketing software, so far away from the data space. But I listened to him and I met them. And in my criteria, when I was looking at companies, and like this, when you attract candidates, sometimes you can see what they have in mind. The first thing was I wanted to have a move to cloud. At this period of time, 2016, a move to cloud in a vertical that was not touched. And why I was doing that? Because I was here when Ceyrolle has been completely replaced by Salesforce, and I was the country manager of BMC Software when ServiceNow arrived with a pure SaaS solution thing for the cloud. So one of the criteria was a move to cloud. Second criteria was the quality of execs. And I met the CEO, Bob Muglia, at this period of time, and the CRO, Chris Degnan, and the CMO, probably one of the best CMOs that I had the chance to meet. She's still the CMO, Denise Persson, and I realized that it was part of the criteria. Also, the total addressable market, and something important for me was how independent I will be to start Europe for this kind of company. So I decided to join because all those boxes were directly filled by Snowflake. So I started in late 2016, January 2017. Before that, I was managing around like 120 people. My parents said, okay, you are completely crazy. You will start something from scratch. You have 3 kids, a family. So why are you doing that? And I said, yeah, but there is an opportunity here. So I started alone in a very small office in Paddington. And I helped to scale the business in 14 different countries and locations. Helped to build a partner ecosystem. So we had around 180 partners when I left. I think now they have like 220 partners. Roughly the 550 people I meet every single person that we hired. And I have been involved in every single opening of country. So I mean, we had an operating reason for that. Every time we were opening a country, and I will come back to this. So we went from 0 to $112 million the first 3 years. When I came, there was no inbound, no real, no active customers. There was a partner that was claiming to be a partner, but I realized that they didn't have any data resources, so it was not a partner. But this was the start, and I will come back to that. So when I started, it was so back in 2017. I was looking, and as I said, I was alone in Europe. Snowflake was based in San Mateo in California. So when they wake up, it's like 3 p.m. for me. So I needed a form of independence. So the first thing very important is when I started, I act like an entrepreneur, and this company was like mine. And I said, okay, I need to do all the right things. So the first thing very important is when you start is focus on trust. So instead of, I had many advice, and I will come back to people from the market, of hiring people from the market, and I will explain some stuff later on this. But what was very important for me was to have people that I really trust, and also the interaction needs to be extremely simple. And this is something that I was looking for. So I started with a pod of 2 salespeople, one with the potential of being a leader, one sales engineer, because the product was quite technical, and one BDR. And this kind of pod of having like 2 sales, 1 BDR, 1 pre-sales, has been the pod for everything we did after, because we replicate that in multiple countries. So very quickly, because Snowflake was completely unknown in the market, so I did my homework myself to hire the people, but at one point you can be a little bit lost. So I had a good network of headhunters, and this is also what we kept after. We kept having headhunters that we use, but in exclusivity by market. So after that, when Snowflake was big enough, we were using internal recruiting. But what we did at the beginning, because sometimes you can question headhunters who are saying, okay, we want exclusivity, but you need to see that like real estate. When you want to sell a house, if you give your house to 20 different agencies, the people who want to buy a house have question mark. So I started to have a first headhunter for UK, and after that, we splitted that in Europe because it's difficult to have only one headhunter that will help for everything. So the first thing for me, very important, was the focus on trust. And the lesson learned, because it's part of the discussion today, and something that I always say to the people, because this was my history around that, but I was looking to have people like this, is never confuse a title and an opportunity. And for founders in the room, it's very difficult when you want to hire VP sales, or do I need to hire a VP sales, or do I need to hire first a salesperson that will start my sales motion? And most of the time, when you are unknown, when you are quite small, you will face people, because salespeople are very good at selling themselves. So I know that because I worked in this space for 22 years. But the reality is you will have some people that will ask a big title, that will ask, obviously, a lot of equities, and they see the opportunity more for their title and how they can probably progress in their career compared to the real opportunity. And something that I can tell you is every time I was meeting people that was asking to have big titles, it was something, there was a mismatch directly on this, because the opportunity was so big, and even now, after all those years, I still consider myself as a salesperson and not like a VP of the world. So sometimes I met some 24-year-old people that were like SVP sales, which is not possible. So I know until November 2021, there was such a growth on the market that a lot of people get promotions without necessarily having or doing all the right things. And it's very important to try to pinpoint those people who focus on title and not focus on your opportunity and the opportunity that you can propose to them. So one thing very important when I started was the risk-taker mindset. So as I said, people around me were thinking, okay, you are crazy, you have a good job, and you will start from zero, nobody knows this company. And I think many people can face this in the room. But the risk-taker mindset is very important when you will sell, when you will partner, and when you will hire. Because it's different profile. Last week I just arrived from Paris, last week we did an event with different startups, and I was talking to a very promising future Series A company, and he was saying, okay, I want to hire someone from this big legacy company. But the problem of doing that, it's when you are at this stage, you need some people that are ready for it. When I started, the first 2 years, I spent 200 days out of my home, out of my kids, because I was on the road doing all of that. So this is the kind of mindset you need to get of people that are ready to take the risk when you start to hire them. It's exactly the same for customers. Customers, at the beginning, they will buy not necessarily for the technology, but they will buy from people. So this is why when you have the right people also in the team, they will trust, and they are like actor for change in a company, and they are ready to move and buy, and this is the kind of customers you need to look for. And this is the same case for partners. And partners, to give you a short story on partners, so I didn't have any partners when I started, but what I was looking at the technology partners we had, and at this period of time I had Talend. Talend was an ETL, quite a mature company, and they invited me in different locations in Europe doing partner events. And at the end I said to them, okay, I just need 20 minutes and I will talk about Snowflake in front of all a room like this one, and in front of all your partners. And we were extremely well prepared. But why I did that? Because finding by yourself the partner that you need for your solution, it sometimes can be a bit challenging. So I use this, and I said, because this can be quite relevant to be a partner, to find a partner that can be on ETL, which is the ingestion part of data, and Snowflake for the processing and the storage. So there is particularity of having the right partner working for those two companies. So, and this was really the start. I did the speech in many cities, and after that, most of the partners that help the company to scale, they came from this, and they arrived saying, okay, we want to take the risk. We will arrive with leads, because the problem is when I started to meet like Capgemini and Accenture, and they were telling me, so now they are praying to work with Snowflake, but at this period of time they were saying, okay, we want like a big project coming from Snowflake, and we'll see if we want to invest. And it was very important to have like niche players that were able to take this risk on partner, and that makes the difference. So this one is, when I started, so Chris Degnan was the actual CRO and still the CRO of Snowflake, and I respect him a lot, and he was my boss, and we have very good relationship. But he told me from the US, they said, okay, you need people from the market. You need people from the market because they will come with a network, and this will be helpful for the growth of the company. The problem of that is, especially in Europe, it was not necessarily the case in the US, but especially in Europe, it was difficult because the good salespeople, the very strong sales skills, they were not sitting in legacy companies. So I'm sorry if we have some people in the room from a very legacy company like Oracle, Teradata, Netezza, but what I'm saying, it's great to find those people who have a combination of network, knowledge on the market, and strong sales skills. But we realize that it's very easy to learn a technology, but it's very difficult to have to learn very deep, strong sales skills. And we did the mistake of hiring some people from larger companies. They were used to a bigger infrastructure, instead of focusing on core qualities that are having champion builders, so they will be able to build champions into organizations, and people who were able to qualify a pain, really qualifying what is a problem that the company can solve. And on this, if you are not used to be on a startup, on the sales side, it's more difficult. So very quickly, we put in place like a DNA top 5. And this DNA top 5 was negotiable and non-negotiable things. And those 5 were non-negotiable. And why I'm saying that? Because when you hire someone, you need to look for things that you can coach, things that you can develop, but you have some stuff that are embedded. And someone with character, drive, ownership, someone that will arrive on a customer room and you will feel the presence and how this person talk to customers, it's very difficult to coach. EQ, IQ, same, it's extremely difficult to coach. So you are born like this, or it's very difficult. And coachability, most of the time, it's also something that is difficult to change. So what I call coachability was when we hire people, we say, okay, you need to forget everything you know, and we will reformat to the right playbook. You have some fundamental things. You have the character, you have drive, you have ownership, you have a good success rate. But now we'll explain to you how we'll sell, how we'll scale in different enterprise. And this DNA of top 5 was very like the criteria we were looking for every time we were hiring people. So we started to hire, and the most important thing is, so it's funny, so I do small things because they told me behind, okay, nobody was late, and I said to him, yeah, but I'm French and I will be probably late, and I'm pretty sure I will be late for this session, so that's okay. We continue. So the first one, focus on brand awareness and KPIs that matter. So brand awareness, what does it mean? It means that when you have people at the beginning, you need to focus only on talking about your companies, only about talking, and it's every level, every people in the room or in the office were only focused to talk about Snowflake during events. We were choosing the right events. You don't imagine the number of events, data events that exist. You can spend a lot of cash, a lot of money, but we only focus on the ones that were able to build pipeline generation for us. And the focus on brand was extremely important. And we were focusing on the customer. We were not focusing on us. So the way we were doing presentation, we were talking about the problems that the data world had and the negative consequences associated. And we explained, okay, some other companies that were facing the same problem. This is what they put in place to face those different problems. And after that, we started to talk about what Snowflake was doing. In terms of KPI, also, I gave this analogy last time in a presentation. When you start to learn to ski, if you explain the 1,000 things that people need to do skiing, they will probably, you give them like too many KPI to really ski in the right way, they will probably fall and break their legs. But if you give them like just, okay, you need to have your shin touching your boots and you need to see your gloves, it's a good start. And this is what I had in mind of saying, okay, we need, at the beginning, the KPI are only new business meetings and new logo. So the new business meetings are the meeting after discovery where we know we have a visible opportunity, and new logo are the new accounts we were signing. And we were maniacally focused. For 2 years, we used only those KPI. Because most of the time, I meet too many times startups who want to implement too many leading indicators, enforcing KPI for sales team, and sometimes it's not the right things to do because they can be lost. At the beginning, you focus on awareness, new customers. Maintaining focus is something absolutely key, and I will share a story on that, why I'm talking about this. At the beginning, no inbound, as I was saying, but we were quite good to do some pipeline generation and get some meetings. But the reality is we had meetings on banks and services and automotive and industry and many different aspects. And one day, I organized a meeting with a very large bank in the UK. So the CEO came, the founder, everyone came to the meeting. We did the meeting. 12 people from this very large UK bank, and after the CIO said, yeah, thank you, now I know what the cloud means. And so it was completely pointless, and the reality is they use us for evangelization. So as a startup founder, this is something you need to always keep in mind. You are not necessarily evangelist when you are talking about your technology. This is one thing very important. So what I did is the day after, I bring the team in the office and I said to them, okay, we'll focus now. We'll stop doing that. We'll stop going after companies that just want to see us for evangelization. What we'll do is we'll focus on technology companies, online retailers, gaming companies, in the cloud of AWS. And the only thing we will do, because we are doing this well, is replacement of Redshift, Amazon, It was a partner, but we were doing very good replacement of Redshift. We did that during 2 years. Every time we open a new market, we had this focus. And if we had like a big bang coming to us, in that case, we didn't disqualify, but at least we qualify in or out opportunities based on criteria, very important. So customer satisfaction, local references, I need to go fast because I'm out of time. Local references, it's very important to have local references in your different markets. We focus on that, on having local references, because having American references were not necessarily useful. And I will end up with this. Sorry, I wanted to probably do longer, but it's 20 minutes. Regarding the mindset. So the first one is focus on execution and accountability at every level of the organization. So on this, and this is something that is coming from Frank Slootman, the CEO of Snowflake, that wrote this book, Amp It Up, and I really recommend it. It's focused on the input and not the output. Most of the time, startups focus on revenue generation, also for VC, because they want to shine and have good results, and on net retention and the rest. But the reality is the most important is to focus on everything you will do, on the consistency that you will have, on every processes you will put before, and the revenue will come by default, because closing a deal is not something difficult. But doing this properly, qualify in, out, forecast accurately deal is something that is very difficult. Do it now. Being proactive is something that we implemented in the company very quickly to make sure that we were the most proactive people. We never overpromise things. So we were saying, okay, probably this will come to the roadmap, but we never overpromises. We excel on messaging, and there was one messaging inside and outside. Same, too many times I see startups with too many different messaging. Everyone has his own way of pitching, and this is something we didn't do. We had only one message with 5 differentiators, and we were pitching this inside and outside, and we were training the team around that. Challenge yourself every day. So something I was saying to the team is, because sometimes I do some sessions on driving accountability with sales team, and something I was using is a mirror effect, is when you are in the bathroom in the morning, when you face the mirror, ask yourself, do I really contribute to the success of my team, or do I really contribute to the success of my company every morning? And this is something just to explain to them that they have a responsibility of the success of the company. Do less but better, so I don't have time for that. Be factual, so this is something also for the founders in the room. Every single person that I had in the team, I was taking notes of good things and also things where I struggle. Why? Because if I need to have a crucial conversation with them, it was based on facts. So we put in place a culture of accountability, a culture of fun, but everything was based on facts. There was no emotions. And like this, you avoid to go into violence or silence of certain situations where you are not very happy. And refuse to lose mindset since the beginning, and also with something that we put in place, because when you are an early stage startup, and if you have some people, they will complain because they don't have enough marketing, or they don't have enough support from other functions. And this is something that I put in the office, which is TEDIC. It means the SQs department is closed. So what I mean by the SQs department is closed is you are responsible of your success, and it's okay at the beginning to not have all the support. Yeah, I'm ending up. And it's okay to not have all the support, but you need to be responsible of what you do, and sometimes you need to do extra works. Okay? And this is something I was using, and I will end up here. It's really, since the beginning, what I said to the team is, okay, we will be the solution de facto on the market, but we need to respect everyone, and respecting competition, respecting partners, respecting customers, but having this mindset of, okay, we can do everything we want, we can scale the organization without being toxic on culture, because too many times good sales execution equal bad toxic culture, but you can combine the two. I'm over time, so I need to stop here. Thank you. Thank you.